Ian Bremmer, at the Geneva Conference of 1954, the Secretary of State of the United States refused to shake hands with a gentleman from China. We then moved on and oscillated to the wonderment of ping-pong diplomacy of 1971. What was the ping-pong diplomacy across those two tables that we witnessed yesterday?
Most important bilateral relationship in the world. Also the most challenging for the Americans to manage, certainly one of the more dysfunctional. And it shows that Biden and the Biden administration have been talking about China and operating largely in a vacuum over the first 50 days. And that's, as a consequence, been very easy to talk up how tough they're going to be on China. And now they're actually engaged with China, and the Chinese government is having none of it, right? I mean, their belief that they don't need to be talked down to by a group of American exceptionalists, the Chinese belief that their system is every bit as valid as legitimate, and the Americans don't believe that, right? So that's pretty core. It's pretty fundamental.
What is the debris here of Trump-POMPEO? Do you link the two, or is this separate and discrete to maybe the transfer from Obama to Biden?
They're very similar in terms of orientation of actual policy issues. Whether you're talking about Taiwan or Hong Kong or the South China Sea or intellectual property theft or cyber or trade, there's not an awful lot of daylight between what the Biden administration is concerned about and what the Trump administration is concerned about. Well, we can cherry pick a few issues where you see some differences. Even the Uyghurs, where Trump never talked about human rights, but the actual policy under Trump, Biden, very similar. Where you see an enormous difference is that, number one, the Biden administration is trying to work very deliberately with allies in advance, trying to coordinate U.S.-China policy with the Quad, and that means the core allies in Asia, not including South Korea, because Japan has a problem with the South Koreans, but Australia, Japan, and India, and also core allies in Europe, the EU3, less successfully because the Europeans do not view China the way the Americans do, and that, of course, is the UK, France, and Germany. None of that coordination was happening under Trump. The other big difference between Biden and Trump is that the Biden administration is actually having a policy review. What's that? With principals across the cabinet that are actually trying to work out a strategic policy that then Biden will discuss with the principals and make a calculated, calibrated decision on how they're going to roll that out. Trump was a game-time quarterback. He sees an opportunity, he throws the ball. He's not waiting to see what kind of a review is going to happen from his, various members of cabinet who obviously aren't as bright, shouldn't be listened to the way his judgment carries. So it is quite different in terms of how you operationalize what those relatively similar core policies.